Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. I've been going pretty good for about almost 2 months now without messing up the date. But today is Thankful Thursdays. I am thankful for my guest this morning. If you saw the promo for the today's episode, we're talking organizing 101, and I have two experts around issues locally here. They may be known a little more for organizing around campaigns, but definitely issues, and they have proven track records in their own right, and they've come together around some other spaces. But this thing that that I heard about called the Organizing Accelerator, which is a collaboration between the National NAACP and the Groundwork Project. Just looking at some of the notes, and it's for organizers by organizers. There's a whole different language that organizers speak. It's just incredible. And so I am honored this morning to bring back a young lady that I got to meet almost just about 2 years ago, Mary Lou, right? About 2 years ago. And then also this young man is no stranger to the Java Cafe. He has been here before. Brother Anthony Davis is with us this morning. And so I am excited. I will go ahead and acknowledge before you all start putting in the comments. Yes, still having a little technical difficulties and looking a little bright, but we're here. The information is the goal of getting out this morning. So Mary Lou, we'll start with you. Say good morning. And then maybe we'll go, Anthony can say good morning as well. And then we'll go into a little bit of who you are and how and why you got into organizing. Anthony, the same. Anthony, you've talked to us in different spaces before, and I saw your tweet. This is a different conversation. This thing exudes out of both of you. But so Mary Lou, say good morning, and then right after her, Anthony, and then Mary Lou, I'll come back and get some more some history from you. Herstory. It is Women's History Month, and so yes, we'll say herstory. Yes, ma'am.
Well, good morning, y'all. It's great to be here. I'm very excited to finally be a guest. I've been backstage so many times on this show, so I feel like a celebrity getting to show my face here. So thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. And Anthony?
Good morning, everyone. Anthony Davis Jr. I am just excited to be joining this morning for this topic, and with a friend who I have grown to respect in so many ways and have worked with in so many different projects over the years now. So just really excited to dive into this topic.
I'm looking at I looked at your bios and some of the stuff, and there was some stuff I did not know about either of you. So I'm quite impressed and quite with whatever worth it has. Proud of both of you to see, because I know your achievements. And so Mary Lou, how did you get into organizing? First of all, let me start with this. How would you describe organizing in one word?
One word.
What is it?
Empowerment.
Empowerment, absolutely. And so tell us like a little bit about you and why you got into organizing.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not from Boston. And after going to school, I actually started teaching high school. And I've always wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. And I got so frustrated with all of the things that were out of my control. in my classroom. And I wanted to do something about it. So I packed up my little bags and I moved to DC. And I thought I wanted to be, work in policy, be a policymaker. And I started having conversations, figuring out, how do I make this systems change so I can go back to the classroom? And I realized that policymaking it's just not for me. It's not the right personality fit. It's a lot of reading and sitting and being alone. And it's more dense than I was than I wanted. I'm a people person. I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to mobilize people and hear people's stories. And that's how I found my way into organizing, is actually the way that I want to make systems change. And the first job that I actually landed in organizing was with Anthony.
Are you
It
serious?
taught me so much of the ropes. Yeah, yeah. So full circle here. Anthony was the first person I worked with in an organizing role, and we worked on the governor's campaign in Maryland together. And from there, I started working on more political campaigns, getting involved in my community through organizing, which was, I didn't realize that so much of the stuff that we already do actually is organizing. It's community organizing.
That part.
I think it seems like this big hat that people, it's this big title that people feel afraid to put on. I'm not an organizer, I'm not an activist, but everyone really is. So once that ball started rolling, it's kind of hard to stop. It's hard to stop organizing once you started. And since then, I've done a few campaigns. I did a presidential campaign, Elizabeth Warren, with Anthony. We both worked on Michelle Wu's campaign in Boston, and I'm back in Atlanta now. I'm actually, again, following Anthony's footsteps and opened my own business. And now I'm also doing a bunch of different projects in Atlanta, doing some union organizing, community organizing here.
All right, Mary Lou. When we moved on from with the transition and whatnot, I'm like, oh, okay, figured you'd stick around, but I'm glad to hear the progress and you being an entrepreneur and a woman of color. That means so much, and so it's good to hear the history. And to hear that, you and Anthony got started together. I thought you guys kind of landed together, but started together is awesome. And so Anthony, and I just have to go and say good morning to our pops who's in the room this morning. Good to see you on, Pops, this morning. I've talked to you a lot, but I don't think I've ever face-to-face on the show. I've never heard your why. And I presume some of your why. How did you, Anthony, because you do a lot, as Mary Lou mentioned, we see you doing a lot of things with the Congresswoman here, issues-based things as well. Your agency, I believe, is very involved in training, organizing Black men here in the city of Boston with the Black Men and Boys Commission. So what, Anthony, this is going to be interesting. I don't know if I need tissue or not, but what is your why? How did you get into organizing, sir?
Oh, wow. So as Mary Lou said, I feel like we all are organizing before we know that that's what we're doing. And so for me, I would say it started in high school. Just had an idea with a group of friends that we wanted to start a toy drive at a local elementary school. It was in an underprivileged neighborhood. Majority of the students at the school were in need of some sort. And so we adopted this school essentially, and adopted a few families within the school, and within our own communities, within our own network, started to raise funds, start to collect canned goods, collect clothes, collect toys for the kids around the holiday season. And then on Christmas Eve, me and a few of my friends actually went around and delivered, meals, gifts, and then also financial gifts to the families on Christmas Eve. So went around to 4 different families in the DC area and delivered the food. And I always look back on that as like a very pivotal moment for me, because I didn't really know what I was doing at that point, but I realized all of the different skills that I employed between, gathering friends and convening friends, and then also organizing them around a very specific cause and around a very specific thing that, and then deploying our networks, reaching out to our networks to actually help us with this cause. All of that is organizing. And as Mary Lou says, for me, if I had to say one word as well, mine would have been empowerment. I see, at every point in my organizing career, someone has empowered me to take another step. Even I will give credit to Mary Lou, because, I would say that as a campaign manager on Michelle Wu's campaign, she took a chance on me. I had never been in the role that the organizing director role that they hired me for, and had never been in that high of a position on a campaign. And so I have seen the power of empowerment, because I wouldn't be in the position that I was in if I haven't been empowered by other people along my road as well.
So y'all are right now, I got to remember we're on the show, because y'all are giving me all the feels, and knowing both of you, I'm just sitting here like, oh. But as I said before, with organizers, there's a language, and I'm learning and observing here that there's actually a bond. And Anthony, I know you know Darren Howell. It is so interesting to hear from you that that's how you started, because if you look at everything that Darren is achieving now and whatnot, that's what got Darren on the road to giving back. And so it's amazing to hear that. Mary Lou, in the context, I'm going to ask you something in the context of Women's History Month. Women that are watching right now, a young lady that may watch later, what is it that you would say to them about their power to empower, just specifically speaking to some women?
Well, I would say that we hold so many natural gifts when it comes to organizing, when it comes to power. We're really taught culturally to listen and to really make people feel safe, make people feel understood. And that's really what the core of organizing is really making sure that people feel like they're a part of something, feel connected to each other. And I think that women are just natural organizers. And when you think about just what we do on a day-to-day, when we organize people to come to an event, to a birthday party, things like that, we're doing this, and we're all organizing already in our work. And I just hope that so many more women can realize that that's what they're already doing. I love when we see people, especially who are middle-aged or older, who are realizing that they're organizers and coming to find that power in themselves. That's my favorite, because especially I think a lot of women feel like, we feel like we have to be perfect or better than perfect in order to even take on the role. That I see a lot of men feeling already confident enough to say, I do this. This is already a title that I have. And so I want to make sure that women can feel inside that that's already something that they're doing. We already have this title within us. We have that power.
I'm when I lean in like that, I don't know if you noticed, that's when I'm like, yes, that's my visual of amen preach. We're going to get a little bit into the organizing accelerator, the groundwork project. And I will name, because I announced to you all the past couple of days, first the president of the National NAACP, then we were going to have a local chapter president, and both of them, with all this stuff going on with the weather, I think they're both currently on flights. And so Brother Charles wasn't able to be here to speak from the NAACP's perspective, but presumably a lot of us know about that organization. And there is a partnership, Anthony. And it's so interesting that the organizations that are coming together to make the organizer accelerator happen, but let's talk groundwork. Anthony, what is some of the groundwork needed to organize? Talk a little bit about the organization. I want to also name that I heard from both of you that, if I heard you right, Mary Lou, if I'm remembering right, you mentioned high school or sometime right after school. So you started very young. And so we noticed in 2020, our young people were the ones, not disregarding, us old heads, but the charge across the country was really led by young people. And so I just wanted to name that, maybe go back and we could speak to the youth at the end, even though they should always be at the forefront. Absolutely. Anthony, what is some of the groundwork needed to be an organizer? You all have affirmed and named, Mary Lou, I love how you called out the wonderful natural gifts that women are taught. In some respect, we need to add some, really start identifying the leadership and saying that to our women and our young girls. But I'm glad how you were able to help women listening today, that they are already organizers. They're seeing an issue in their neighborhood. It doesn't take a whole lot. So Anthony, what is the groundwork that's needed? And then talk about the groundwork project.
Yeah. So I would say one thing that is really needed as organizers is for investment. And that for organizing to not be seen as something that is just that's cyclical, that is, we only do it around election cycles. So I think a very common misconception, or a strong misconception around organizing, is that it's only something that happens around the election cycle, and that discredits so many amazing organizers around this country who are doing the work, around the year, okay, around cycles, in between election cycles, to build power. And that is, I would say, that is a perfect segue into Groundwork Project because, Groundwork Project, which is the partner with the NAACP on the Organizing Accelerator, I would say takes that investment piece a step further. Although they are a Massachusetts-based organization, they really focus on regions of the country that have been ignored in terms of investment from the kind of national progressive arm of the country, and then also folks that have been in regions that have rich organizing history. So when you think about the regions that Groundwork Project works in, the Deep South, they have states that they focus in like Mississippi and Alabama that have rich organizing histories dating back to the civil rights movement. And then states like West Virginia, who also have a rich organizing history when you think about tenant organizing and the labor organizing there in West Virginia, and then Oklahoma as well, which has even recently had a very strong education movement where they've had walkouts of teachers just really calling on making demands. And all of these are different examples of organizers, but Groundwork really takes the investment piece a step further because they're focusing on states that you don't necessarily see a win happening in the foreseeable future. You're investing in organizers because they're the ones doing the work instead of investing in them because you think that they can get a win. In those states that we work in, Alabama, Mississippi, West Virginia, Oklahoma, a lot of those organizers, they are used to people coming in and dumping money around a very specific need, whether that be Joe Manchin or a bunch of people in Alabama dumping in money for Doug Jones' race back in 2017. But then, they dump in that money for that specific thing. And whether it's a win or a loss, the money immediately goes away. It dries up.
Facts.
And so what goes with that is the organizing infrastructure that money also built up. So you think about it, you brought in a bunch of money. So that meant that you were able to hire a bunch of organizers who then went out and built a bunch of connections in the community, built out connections in the neighborhoods. And then at that point, once the organizers are no longer paid to do the work, sometimes they remain, sometimes those relationships continue, but they're not really geared towards a purpose. And so at that point, it all dies down. But the organizers that Groundwork is investing in, they're doing this work year round, regardless of the election cycle, regardless of wins, they're doing this work. And so I applaud the organizers and also applaud the organization for the investment.
Absolutely. Mary Lou, I wanted to ask you, and you talked to it a little bit as a woman, but there is sometimes an issue-based local politics, and Boston is a very interesting place. And Heidi makes the reference. Sometimes I feel like I need to be a part of the in crowd to do organizing. I don't even need to set up a framework for you to respond to that question. Go.
I sometimes feel like it is actually a huge advantage to not be a part of the in crowd, because when you're part of the in crowd, you are making constant calculations. Oh, I can't go to this place because that's this person's turf, or this person claims this. And I think when you're on the outside, you're actually so much more powerful because you're not thinking about these petty things that aren't actually about the meat of
Did you say petty?
Did
okay, go ahead. Period. Go ahead.
Because what is the point of this, right? This is not about turf. This is not about, relationships about who owns what. This is really about the work. And so if you're really focused on the work, you don't care about these things. You welcome new people in, and you want, when people have energy and excitement, you want them to come in, and you don't care about who they know. So I actually think it's a huge advantage to come in from the outside and just be ready to do the work. And people should welcome you with open arms. And if they're not, you probably found the wrong people to be collaborating with. Keep going. They'll find you.
I love the authenticity and the realness when you said petty, because there are a lot of petty, I'll just say petty politics. This is my word. And so, Mary Lou, let's go a little bit into the organizing accelerator and why, and Anthony kind of set the stage for it, but why do we need to accelerate organizing? Things have really been interesting. I didn't do enough of the research and digging whether we're, partisan, bipartisan, or whatever, but I'll just say the past few years might be one of the answers that you say that dictates that we need to accelerate our organizing. Tell us why, and then tell us about the organization as well.
Yeah, so there are I think, a lot of different theories out there on how we can make systems change, right? And I think we can all just agree that there's a lot of change that needs to happen right now. And organizing is one of those many tools, right? There's also communications, having a great ads, making sure you got press releases, whatever it is. Organizing, I think, is the most important, because organizing is about people-to-people conversations, about relationships. And what we've been seeing over the past few years, maybe even decades, is that we're drifting further and further from people that are different from us. And I think that's a pattern that we need to start to undo.
Okay.
And organizing gets us there, because it encourages us to connect with other people, to hear people's stories. And through that, we start to care about things that may not affect us, because we start to understand the emotional part of it and not just the data part that is coming through us through the media.
It's so interesting when you talk about stories, and this is a platform that curates people's stories, and it does. I've had a lot of people on, and at the end of the show, they say, "Thank you. I didn't know. I have a different perspective. I still have my stance." We talk about often LGBTQ issues, and we have a lot of traditional, Christian folks, and often you see something changes when they hear someone's story as a human. And so thank you for raising that. Why do we as humans need to accelerate tell us about the organizing accelerator? Because
I forgot to answer the question.
as organizing does happen organically. It really does in a lot of cases. And sometimes it can be organized chaos. And so what does the accelerator do to lift and enhance those that are organizing, or maybe at the beginning stages of getting into it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the accelerating is really about just pausing and saying, this is actually incredibly important. We need to invest in this. We need to support organizers, the human beings that are organizing, and the idea that organizing is powerful and will get us there to the systems change. So one thing that I really like about the organizing accelerator is Anthony mentioned that all this money flows into states like West Virginia, and then it dries up. And then the organizers who have been making these connections, they've got to go find different work. Yeah. And the organizing accelerator is helping people see that organizing is not just a stepping stool. You don't just do it for a little bit and then move on to something else. It's something that you can keep doing forever. And it's something that can be built as a career. And we want to encourage more people to see it that way. Organizing can be an identity and also a career, something that you're really able to continue to do in different facets. It's not just about one type of organizing.
And so I just wanted to bring up go ahead, Anthony, please jump in while we peruse the site.
Yeah, I would just also add that I feel like traditionally, and this goes back to one of the comments about being in the in crowd, is that traditionally as organizers, we have to we're taught that we need to go through the grind, and people who have come before us had to put in X amount of time, or pay your dues, etc. We hear that in every field of our work. So I don't want to just say that it's just in organizing, but as organizers, it is a very network field. And so I would say one of the big things about the accelerator is kind of cutting down on that time of building that network as well of as an organizer. So we're exposing, getting some folks exposed to, President Derrick Johnson of the NAACP, former Congressman Joe Kennedy, but then also the amazing.
Hold on. That's as soon as possibly happening this evening?
Tonight. Yep, tonight. And I would be remiss if I did not also shout out the amazing and mentor to both Mary Lou and I, Tracy Lewis, who will also be.
Listen, look. Perfect timing, sir. Perfect timing. Hi, Tracy.
And I know she's tuned in and watching. So hi, Tracy.
We actually almost got her on screen this morning. I said, we'll use this morning as a prep for this evening. But listen, I am excited. When I saw that flyer, I said, wait, what? Tracy's coming from behind the scene. Wonderful strategist, get stuff done. But we're going to see her on a panel tonight. Can y'all tell I'm excited? Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, but that's just the point. It's just the networking pieces, the people who they will be exposed to during this program and throughout the program that are facilitating some of the trainings are just people who are in great places in their career who can also help them accelerate their careers as well. Absolutely.
I just wanted to highlight, though you're hearing about it, I wanted to make sure you all knew that you did need to register for this evening. So I'm actually, y'all know I do this stuff in real time. We're going to right now, go back and put this in the comments for any Heidi. If you're free this evening, I see Michelle, the wonderful singer that's been opening up all the Celtics games and stuff across the country. Michelle, I see you do some organizing on your page. If you all are free this evening, is registration still open before I go do all this? Okay, registration is still open. I just put it in the comments. So there's an opportunity for you to come this evening and hear from these great folks. We'll have the president of the NAACP, Derek Johnson, and also former Congressman Joe Kennedy III, Groundwork Project founder. It doesn't surprise me that he's in this. His it's just in their DNA. Tracy Lewis, grassroots organizer and political strategist. Y'all tell I'm a little excited. And moderated by Marcela Garcia, the Boston Globe journalist. So this is happening this evening, folks. Again, thank you so much. We want to shout out, it's not official yet. We want to shout out Mrs. Davis, who's in the building, making sure we have all the information. Shout out to you, Aaron. And Heidi is also saying everything is relationship based. Sometimes the in-crowd thing makes it hard to be a newbie. And that is absolutely real. But Heidi, one of the things that I found, and a lot of people ask me, why are you always out and you're everywhere and doing everything and not as much as I want? But there is something called FaceTime, getting out in these spaces and getting to know folks. And a lot of times, the people that you want to connect with, all you need is that initial conversation. You all talk. There's an identification of a synergy or intersectionality, and then you go have coffee and lunch, and then all of a sudden, you're involved in doing things. And so tonight is definitely one of those huge opportunities. And I'm saying this not from Anthony or Mary Lou, but a lot of that perceived in crowd is probably going to be there this evening. So come out and break in and show up and show out, because I will definitely be there. This is going to be a wonderful event. As much as this platform is known for media, it's based in organizing and improving the quality of life for folks. And so from your perspective, Mary Lou, what are you looking for this evening? I know you're a part of it, but I know also when you get a chance to kind of sit in the back after running around and getting everything together, what do you hope to get from the panel? What do you hope to walk away with?
I am so sorry that I'm actually in Atlanta right now, so I will not be there. But I hope that others get.
What do you hope that the attendees walk away with, Mary Lou? Sorry. You did say that fully earlier. So sorry.
Well, I hope the attendees walk away with one, just like you mentioned, a chance to meet other people who are interested in hearing about the power of organizing. I think that's a really great opportunity to just start to get familiar with new faces. And I really think it's going to be exciting to hear from Tracy, who, as you said, we never get to hear her wisdom from behind the scenes. Anthony and I are lucky because we get to call her all the time and ask her questions, but I think it's going to be a great source of wisdom for the attendees. And just to hear how, even as you grow in power publicly, like so many of our panelists, they still cherish organizing and see that as the fundamentals for how we make change. It's really about that human to human connection. It's not about making big TV ads or, building websites, whatever it is. It's really about organizing. It's about people to people. And fundamentally, it doesn't matter how important you are, who you are. If you can build a relationship with one other person, you are organizing. And that is moving the needle forward.
Okay, and it's funny, Heidi, because I just highlighted on screen, if a seat is unavailable or you will not be attending in person, viewers can stream the event live via YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And so I was just getting ready to raise that. And Anthony is probably just because I just dealt with a whole bunch of registration. The form is currently closed to those without a Harvard ID, and RSVPs are required for in-person attendance. So it did, between last night, did we find out that registration might have been filled up?
Yeah.
Okay. So that the word is getting out. And you know how we are sometimes, and Heidi, not saying you, but sometimes, folks find out and then the registration just goes. And so there is an opportunity this evening. If you go, Aaron put in the information for the Facebook page. I'm sorry, put in the website. And there's also, I thought I saw.
I dropped.
Oh, you did. Anthony dropped the information for the Facebook page as well. So there's a hyperlink there. So you are at least able to go this evening and watch. If you're not able to attend, where with I can, I'm going to be going live. Y'all know me a couple of times. And so you'll be able to get some of that information. I promise not to do a whole bunch of amen when I hear Tracy preach. Anthony, what do you hope folks walk away with this evening?
Oh, wow. I would, it's hard. I don't want to say anything that Mary Lou said as well. So,
I mean, but
yeah, it's important. Well, for me, I think one thing that's, I mean, looking back on the cohort of fellows that we'll be bringing up to Boston, you know, there are 16 people that are 16 organizers from around the country that are participating in this program. And they were selected out of over 110 applicants. And so for me, I just really hope that they have an amazing experience throughout the forum tonight, but throughout the weekend and throughout the program as well. I think that they have, you know, taken a risk with, you know, this program as it being in its inaugural year. But I mean, you can see with the amazing lineup tonight and just the trainers that we'll have throughout the program, and just the organization around the entire program that we've really been intentional about building out a great program for them. And so I just hope that they have a great experience and that it's not too cold up here in Boston, because we're bringing people from Alabama and Texas and Mississippi up here when it's supposed to maybe snow or rain. It's going to be raining all weekend. So I hope that they don't leave too mad at Boston, but otherwise that they just have a great experience throughout the program.
Don't forget, everyone, this evening, the registration information is in the email. I'm sorry, on screen, but also if you look in the comments, Aaron is making sure that you have the information for the YouTube tonight. Oh, I said the YouTube like I'm older. For YouTube, also subscribe to the page and also go follow them on social media as well, so you can stay up to date with what's going on. Knowing the history of the NAACP and Joe Kennedy, and then people like Tracy as well, that I'm sure this will not be the only cohort. So you want to go follow and stay up to date with what's going on generally, but then also don't forget you're able to watch this evening. I'll probably, today's Thursday, today's my Friday. I'll do a rundown on Monday to let you guys know about it. Mary Lou, any parting words and anything that actually, Anthony, I would like you to maybe give the parting words first. And then Mary Lou, we're going to allow you to give the benediction and speak, you know, from this, but then anything that you would like to say to women in general. Our friend was supposed to kick off Women's History Month yesterday, but scheduling Phyllis, things got interesting. And so I guess you'll be filling in for our wonderful friend and setting the tone for Women's History Month. No pressure, none, Mary Lou, at all. But you know, sometimes as an organizer, you get pulled real quick. So I'm sure you're ready. Anthony, Mary Lou, I'm sure you miss me well. Go ahead, Anthony.
Closing remarks. I would just say, like, it's Thankful Thursday, so I do want to keep that theme in mind and just say, like, I'm thankful for organizers because, you know, power has never conceded anything without demand, and so it's always been organizers that have been at the forefront of movements and actually change. And so I'm thankful for organizers. I'm thankful for the organizers in my life that I've come across, because I wouldn't be where I am again and be half of the person that you all know if it wasn't for Tracy Lewis, Richard McDaniel, Mary Lou, so just to name a few, Maria Martinez. I'll name one more.
Look, because you know, when you start naming names, you'll get a text.
You get in trouble with that. But, I feel really comfortable with those names. Kevin Delaney is one more I'm going to also say. And so, you know, these are people who have been really pivotal in my organizing journey. Stephen Green, Reverend Stephen Green, that's the last one. And so you know, I'm just really appreciative for the tactic, the skill of organizing, just you know, looking forward to continuing to pour into the next generation of organizers as well.
Absolutely. Mary Lou, I'm going to put you full screen. No, I'm messing. Go ahead, Mary Lou, in all seriousness, because I know this is something that exudes out of you, your commitment. Folks in this space, it's personal to us. I don't know if you all ever had the moment in life where you looked up and it was like, can I just care enough as a regular person and not let awareness of things gnaw at me so much that I'm on the phone and texting, okay, what are we going to do? So, I know that you got this covered, and I'm morely messing with the pressure and big screen and whatnot. But in all seriousness, what is it that you would say around organizing, specifically setting this tone for Women's History Month?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be on this platform. I think this is an incredible platform, and this is organizing right here. It comes in many different facets, not just knocking on people's doors, right? This is organizing. So I'm thankful for all the different ways that we organize, all the different ways that we accept and recognize organizing. I think one thing specifically around Women's History Month that I want to mention is that leadership as well comes in so many different forms. I think that so often we are taught that a strong leader is the model of what we see as a strong male presence to be. Someone who's loud, someone who's forceful, someone who can speak eloquently and with a hearty voice. And something that I love about this changing tide right now is that I'm seeing, especially women who have a soft leadership, who have a listening forward leadership style, who are starting to recognize that that's also a form of power. And that's also a strong form of leadership. It doesn't have to be a loud voice. And so I think, especially knowing that the mayor is going to be a future guest again on the show, that's something that I look up to with her, is that it's okay to be a soft leader. It's actually a really, really strong asset. And I hope that other women can see that too. And see that they're organizers and they're leaders. Everything that they are doing, they don't have to model someone else's model of what leadership and organizing needs to look like.
If I could put you on a spot and just go a little bit deeper, since you brought up our friend, what is it that you would say to women that are leading and still have not, still deal with a whole bunch of, I'll go ahead and say it, toxic masculinity in some cases? What is it that you would say around either, because we move in the mental health space here, to the impact of that, Mary Lou? What would you say around the impact of changing the paradigm? And I had this new word called paramind shift. What is it that you would say around that impact to women around fortifying themselves and self-care and things like that? Again, this is an organic space, and I have this opportunity to speak with you, and then we're going to post it so people can be encouraged and get this message out around the importance of valuing our women. And that soft leader thing was, I love that.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to surround yourself with the right people who see that value in you. Surround yourself with the Anthonys of the world who are constantly uplifting the soft leadership around them, the women around them who are acknowledging that. Finding yourself in spaces that are not dominated by that toxic, masculinity. And a lot of times you got to go there anyway. I have so many memories of myself and Michelle, kind of two little Asian women walking into these spaces, big dudes. I knew that we had each other's backs. And even though I felt in that room like I was being swallowed a little bit, if you know that you're surrounded with your people when you leave that room, if you know you've got the people that have your back, that you can call them afterwards, or you're standing shoulder to shoulder with them when you're in that space, it helps you feel that power inside of you. So you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the people that recognize that power in you for the moments that you forget that you have it in you.
There was two intentions there in asking you to end in this space. One was just for folks to get to know who you are, because when folks come, Anthony, he's a vet now, but Mary Lou, I'm sure you'll be back. But the other intention was for them to see the philosophy, the spirit, the cadence behind the scenes, because it's wonderful to do this wonderful presentation on screen and whatnot. But if the philosophy and the spirit of an entity and organization is not what you just spoke to, both of you, in your closing remarks, all the technical training and getting your ones and all that other stuff is for naught. And so I hope you all were able to extract from the end of what Anthony and Mary Lou said, that this is the philosophy, this is the mission, the vision. I can't think of that word when you're trying to set a tone for your corporation. This is the environment. This is the persona. I can't think of the word that they use, but y'all know what I mean. And so I really appreciate both of you. I know, Anthony, you physically got to go do some stuff for tonight. I'm sure, Mary Lou, you're handling stuff virtually behind the scenes and whatnot. So I won't hold you guys too much longer, but thank both of you. Anthony, I'll see you this evening. And Mary Lou, it is real. Donald, the word isn't catalyst, but environment. It's not environment. Tone. I don't know. Y'all know what I mean. But Heidi said a dope convo. So I appreciate both of you. And hold on.
I knew you were going to highlight that one.
Because I just seen it. And then if you know Erin, I could just hear her saying that. And so and here's Ian as well. All right, now we're just messing. I need to excuse me, I need to let you all go. Culture. Heidi. See, you're a leader and you're organizing. Culture. Anthony, she's somebody you might want to tap into. Heidi does finance, and Heidi is ridiculous. She and you don't ever have to wonder what she's thinking either. All right, I'm gonna let you all go. I'm messing now. Thank both of you. I appreciate it. Shout out to Anna and Tracy for making this happen. Shout out to Charles. And also brother Derek wanted to be here, but not able to be here. And I appreciate both of you, and I'll see you this evening.
See ya.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
That was, oh God, I can't stand this. I don't know what's going on with technology. And I see you in the background laughing. Leave me alone. Let me pop you on screen real quick. No, thank you for everything. I appreciate you. Folks, we're going to get ready to wrap up and let you go. Thank you so much for being here this morning. It is Thankful Thursday. Hey, Miss T, I didn't even see you in here. Hey, Michelle, good to see you on, sis. I see you running around the country and opening up in all these arenas, and you directed a big old choir. We need to talk because we need to see what we can do with you in the Voices of Embrace. All right, that's it for me. I had fun today, y'all. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for tech. Thank all of you that came out on Sunday. My photographer hit me and told me he did get some footage, and so we're trying to figure out how to get that for Sunday. It's not in the widescreen, it's on the real shape, but the information is the most important. Okay. Just had a message there. All right, that's it for me, everyone. I will not see you until Monday morning at 9 a.m. May go live. I'm definitely going to go live tonight, so stay tuned for that. I am aware that a lot of people at least once a week tell me, hey, I'm not getting your notifications. Blame Facebook. There's so much going on in the background there. But I think that's it for me. Next week, on Wednesday, we will have the Waterfront Coalition with us. And we have the Boston Harbor Women of Color Coalition. I think that's going to be with us. And if Erin or Anthony is still on, type in there the right name. I think it's the Boston Harbor Women of Color Coalition. They're going to be with us for Waterfront Wednesdays. And I think that's it for next week. I'm really trying to focus on having all women as much as possible for the month of March starting next week, and a little behind in getting that organized. So, all right, folks, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And we will see you. Miss T, yes, ma'am. And I'll put you in touch with Obi, Heidi, and Teresa. Yes, I will eat. And Ma, I will see you tomorrow or Saturday with the seltzer, because Miss T got you straight with the other regular water. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Appreciate you. And we'll see you Monday morning. Actually, we'll see you tonight. This starts at 6. So somewhere between 6 and 7. I might go live a little bit. A women's history fact. I don't have one right now, Donald, but that's all kicking in on Monday, just in the full week. I'll give you a women's history fact. This woman right here, whom we'll be celebrating on March 16th, which is actually 2 weeks from today. This woman right here gave me birth. Her name is Gina Marie Harris Hills, and was born on March 16th, 1956. Grew up in the city of Boston, graduate of Girls High School, and became a mom early and raised her children in the city of Boston, and worked often in loves veterans and did a lot of service to veterans throughout the years of her life. And since her early retirement, has still given back to community. She is a woman of faith, a member of the oh Jesus, Monty's gonna get me. The Tabernacle of Praise out in Randolph, Massachusetts, where she is considered a church mother and serves also on the usher board. Gina Harris's children are contributors to community and carry on the legacy that she did in servitude through her service at the Veterans Administration. Y'all have a wonderful, no, I'm messing. After all of that, Donald said he put a women's history. Today. Okay. All right. We'll get to that in a minute, but that was my Women's History Month kickoff to my mother. All right, y'all. Let me just see the comments in response to that. All right. Ma said, yay. Oh, Jesus. Y'all are going in. Let me read this fact here, but I gave those facts about my mom for women's history. So, Ma, I love you. This day in 1955, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin refuses to give her seat up on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama, 9 months before Rosa Parks. Thank you, ladies, for being the Spark Women's History Month organizers. Right there. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful Thursday, and we'll see you sometime this evening after 6 p.m. All right? Peace, everybody.